Lady Justice used to stand so tall, blindfold on, she'd hear us all. Rich or poor didn't matter then, truth would speak, justice would win. But somewhere along this winding road, the scales grew heavy and the system slowed down. Money talks and power plays while victims wait for better days. Where has justice gone? Where did she flee? The blindfold slipping. Now we see the game is rigged, the deck is stacked for those who can't fight back. Where has justice gone? Predators get off easy while families mourn what can't be fixed. The courtroom doors swing both ways, but not for those who can't pay. We must fight for those we've lost, count every tear, pay every price. Stand tall when systems fail, seeking truth behind the veil. Where has justice gone? Where did she flee? The blindfold slipping. Now we see the game is rigged, the deck is stacked for those who can't fight back. But where has justice gone? Protect the innocent, protect the child, no matter race or creed or color, rich or poor, it shouldn't matter. Justice is what we're after for all. Affluence can't buy a free pass when children's safety is what we ask. Every child deserves the same protection in justice' name. From the courthouse to the highest court, justice feels like a last resort. But we won't stop, we won't give in until justice lives again. We'll bring justice home. Make her see that equal treatment. The key, fix the scale, straighten the stack for those who can't fight back. We'll bring justice home. Lady Justice, hear our call. Stand for one, stand for all. Put the blindfold back in place. Give us truth, give us grace.
Live on the air, Trial Junkies United presents Justice After Dark with your host, Z.
Okay, guys, this is going to be fun because Doc can't hear me. I'm in the studio, he's in his office, and we're having sound issues, but that's how you know it's us.
And we're talking on our cell phones, so I can sort of hear her, but not through the system like we normally do.
Yeah, so it might give you a little bit of an echo. I hope not. Tell me if you're getting an echo, because I'm hearing myself. Okay.
You're hearing yourself?
Yes, through your phone. Hey, Pammy. We've got Ken here, Offram, of course, Irish, and Fala. So we're gonna get started. Somehow it's all gonna work out. Okay. Yeah, Pammy was the quiz queen. I caught the very tail end when she won. So does anybody hear an echo?
Thank you, Kat. I appreciate it. Okay. Hey, Katrina. Well, you know, honey, if we didn't have a tech issue, you wouldn't know it was us. So that's what's so special. Okay, they have a slight echo. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get a slide to go. But let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Trial Junkies United, Justice After Dark. I'm Z, your storyteller in the wilderness of injustice, with my ride or die Doc riding shotgun as we navigate the darkness where the predators hunt and the system fails.
I think I'm dying here.
Why?
Because we can't get this right.
Well, it's gonna be okay.
It'll work.
We're a little echoey though. I can hear it, so I don't know what to do about that. But I'm starting. So
Okay.
you do what you need to do, babe.
You do you.
Here we go. To me, move. You do you.
All right.
So we're ready to shine a light on the forgotten stories that society prefers to leave buried. Tonight's story is the one that's going to make your blood boil, guys. Hey, therapist, you know, it's about a serial SAer who terrorized, and I mean literally is terrorized, a city. And while he was terrorizing the city,
Nobody else can hear us. I don't know. Barely. I'm trying to figure out what we did, because I didn't turn any volumes on or off. Or okay, wait a minute. So just can you hear us now?
They can hear you, they cannot hear me, and they barely hear you.
Yeah, but I just made a change, and we can hear you loud and clear, Doc. Okay.
Can anybody hear me? Now they can hear me.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So here we go again, guys. It's going to be okay. Whew. But this one's going to be a tough case. And before we dive in, I'm going to give credit where it's absolutely due. And that's to the Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, Ronan Farrow, who broke this story wide open with his incredible investigative reporting in The New Yorker. He's actually now working on an HBO documentary, and he's collaborating with the prosecutor that had discovered this case, Kat Dahl, and she's in the picture below. And that promises to expose even more of this travesty. Ronan, thank you for giving these victims a voice when their own police department wouldn't. And I'm a huge fan of Ronan Farrow. Just got to say, Mia Farrow's son. and that's who he belongs to. But let's go ahead and get started. This took place in Johnson City, Tennessee. Now, it's an Appalachian gem nestled in the foothills of eastern Tennessee. It is a charming, mid sized town that blends Appalachian heritage with vibrant college town energy. It's home to East Tennessee University. There's around 70,000 in the community, has stunning natural beauty with the Blue Ridge Mountains as its backdrop, and it has these beautiful winding creeks, dense forests, and a peaceful small town feel. But Johnson City presents this idyllic setting, making it almost jarring when you think of the serious crimes and activities, the contrast between the beauty and the darkness that is settled in this area. Yeah, Ken, he is an attorney as well. He's brilliant. Ronan Farrow is if you've ever had a chance to listen to him speak, it's fascinating. And this is a true story about Sean Christopher Williams, and he's a monster. He's a monster who lived in downtown Johnson City, Tennessee, in a fifth floor apartment. Now, the apartment is the picture where the guy is standing underneath it. He was, I think, a friend of one of the victims, but it just gives you an idea of how tall this building is. Now, Williams didn't operate this whole thing on his own. He had help. He had co-conspirators who lured women into their doom. He owned the glass and concrete contracting, and he was well known around, Johnson City. He had a glass fronted garage with red sports car, a rope swing, and a mural showing him surrounded by gigantic cartoon women's breasts. So kind of tells you who the dude is. He was nicknamed the Spider Man because in his business, his group, they would rappel down to work on these buildings. So when the bars would close at night, he was known to throw wild parties at his fifth story condo, a block from the garage. And when nearby people would, kind of meander over to his place, and he had drones and exotic pets and an endless supply of alcohol and cocaine. But his accomplices were his best friend and occasional roommate, Alvaro Fernando Diaz Vargas, who would hang out at the local bars, and they said he was good looking. Can't find a picture. Somebody has scrubbed him from the internet. And he would bring women back to the apartment. Also, his ex-girlfriend, Alenda Rutherford, who allegedly involved in his business also. And according to court documents and Williams himself, he says they paid off the police to look the other way, allegedly. So let me tell you about some of the women who survived Sean Williams and what he did, because their stories matter, their voices matter. In one instance, in November of 2019, Brianna was 22 years old. She was drinking at a bar near Williams' apartment when she ran into Alfredo Diaz. So he's the right-hand man. He would bring the women back to the apartment. She accepts a beer and immediately begins to feel groggy. Hey, Arctic Fox, thanks for jumping in. She tried to leave, but Williams and Diaz blocked her exit. Her last memory was sitting on a bar stool. She woke up in Williams' bed the next morning with no idea how she got there. A friend drove her to urgent care for a drug test, and it came back positive. She'd been roofied. She hadn't knowingly taken them. She also went for a SA kit. And when she called the police, an officer told her, "Oh, other women have reported similar things there. We know exactly who the guy is." And that was all he said. Brianna was eager to cooperate with the investigation, but the police failed to follow up. The next year and a half, when they finally called her, it was to tell her that her SA kit had tested positive for DNA that wasn't hers. A year and a half. But when she asked for police protection because she feared that Williams might retaliate, they refused, calling Williams untouchable. untouchable. Then there was Kaylee. She's a single mom of 3. In October of 2019, she went to a Halloween party at William's apartment. She took a drink from him. Shortly afterwards, she blacked out. Her next memory was finding him passed out on top of her, assaulting her. And of course, this attributed to her having some severe mental health crisis that she actually even surrendered her children's to the custody of her children because she was in such depression. And it can only be described as predatory manipulation because Williams had contacted her during the darkest period of her life and had struck up this friendship. And he had expressed regret about his lifestyle and told her he wanted to reform. Then in November 2020, he offered her some cocaine. She snorted a line and blacked out. And the next thing she remembered was him holding her down and essaying her. When she woke up and she thought he'd passed out, she fled. Now, Kaylee didn't trust the police, and who could blame her? And because they had made previous sexist comments. She said that she'd previously experienced a sexist treatment from the department, including they had frisked her and found it humiliating and very intrusive the way they did it. So she actually contacted the FBI, but they referred the matter to Johnson City Police right back there. So Detective Thomas Sparks, who was off duty, went to the FBI field office to assume control of the case. When he interviewed her, he told her inaccurately that no other woman had wanted to pursue charges because everyone else had been too fearful. Kaylee said she wanted to press charges. She didn't hear from the police for 5 months. More than 4 years later, she still hasn't received her essay kit results. So we can see how well these gentlemen do. Ken, it would take a lot for a mother to have to surrender her children. She'd had to have been through an awful lot. Hey, Hellcat. Now, let me tell you about Michaela. Okay, this is a picture of Kat. This is Kat Dahl, and she was the prosecutor. Don't know how we got to Kat, but there we are. Let's see if I can find Michaela. Now, Michaela Evans' story, it's really her story that happened in 2020, and this is her, that finally kind of cracked some of this case open. And it happened on a warm September night in 2020. Michaela went with a friend to Williams' garage. Williams and Diaz were there drinking. At one point, Williams began pushing Michaela on the rope swing. She'd only had a few beers and a single shot earlier in the evening, but she began to feel woozy. Her memories of the night abruptly end right there. She says, I don't remember walking back down the street. I don't remember going up the elevator or being in his apartment. But mysteriously, Michaela fell 5 stories from William's window. That's why I had that picture of how high his apartment building was. 5 stories. They said the impact was so loud that people in the restaurant thought it was like somebody shooting a weapon. She woke up from a coma more than a week later. She had fractured more than a dozen bones, including in her skull, her back, and had dislocated her elbow. But miraculously, she survived. Barely, but she survived. Now, I'm sure you think this did it, right? I mean, they got in there and they got this guy. No. Michaela Evans didn't just survive, she actually fought back. She became one of the original 9 Jane Does who filed federal class action lawsuits against the Johnson City Police Department. That lawsuit eventually encompassed, they said, more than 400 women and minors who reported SA assaults between 2018 and 2022. 2018, and 2022. Michaela and those 8 other brave women, they refused to stay silent. They demanded accountability, they demanded justice, and because of their courage, Johnson City actually was forced to settle for over $30 million, the largest settlement in the city's history. But this is what makes it even more horrifying, you guys. How this all came about after she had fallen from the window, okay? They actually searched his apartment, and they found that he had ammunition. Well, he had had a federal arrest and was not allowed to own guns. So this is how they kinda had an in to go after him, right? Yeah, big props to these women for fighting. You're right, Arctic. Um, so along with finding the ammunition, they found a handwritten list of 22 first name, just the first name, one accompanied by the word baby, and one entry that read no name girl. And at the top of the list was an underlined word, which is the SA word that starts with an R. They also found a baby doll that had been turned into a makeshift toy for adults, if you get my drift. And that's when the federal prosecutors actually brought Kat Dahl in, and she got involved in the case. And she looked at the list and looked at the evidence, and it was big. She urged the police to investigate the women. She was surprised they even came to her over the ammunition because she was pretty much she'd been there for over a year, just over a year working, and she mostly handled run of the mill, you know, things on guns and those kind of things. But one of the police had mentioned these complaints from some women, and so she started digging. And so she would then tell the police because she'd go home and do research and she would look on Facebook and she was hearing things and seeing things and say, here's someone that needs to be interviewed. We need to investigate this. But guess what happened? Yeah, crickets. Here she was taking the time, trying to find people that they could get statements from, but nothing. And she said it fell on deaf ears. She said, they just ignored me. Eventually, she was stonewalled, fired, and retaliated against, but that comes later. And her whistleblowing is actually what sparked everything that came after, because she's the one that contacted Ronan Farrow, and she did it secretly as a whistleblower. And she continues fighting for these women. And I'm sure Harvey Weinstein could have told them there in Johnson County what was coming for them because she had Rowan Farrow pulling him like a weapon, and we know how he helped take down Weinstein, so hey. But let me tell you more about some of the victims. There was Laura. In November of 2020, she briefly stopped by his garage with her boyfriend. 5 minutes after, her boyfriend left to look for his phone. Laura disappeared. Family members received a frantic call from her. She sounded incoherent and inconsolable. She was in distress and she didn't even know who she'd called. Minutes after her last call, she crashed her car into a concrete traffic island. She was deceased at the scene. Her sisters called Johnson City police, telling them they believed Williams had been with Laura and may have drugged her. And we know what the police did. Nothing. And then there's Alexa. She was 21, a new mother working at a restaurant and frantically struggling. She met Williams in 2020. He offered her a job as his housekeeper, but within weeks told her she was too pretty to clean. A few months in, she looked at his phone and she saw images of children in adult situations. She fled. In July of 2022, Alexa reported this to the Johnson City Police. I think she was too scared at first. The detective she spoke to adopted an accusing tone, questioning her about her history of substance abuse, like he was speaking to a criminal, not a victim. Last year, federal officials actually showed Alexa images of Williams essaying her and also explicit photos of her 9-month-old son. Yeah. She goes, he was a baby. It's devastating. It's enough to kill someone. So he wasn't just essaying the women. If they had children and they were in the vicinity, yeah, this man is an absolute monster. And the police stood by. There's even Shelby, who considered Williams actually a close friend at one time. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation agents contacted her and showed her photos and videos of Williams essaying her while she was incapacitated. She had no memory of the incident. In one file, she said, "He was holding my eyes open like I'm a dead body." He had arranged all of these files, you guys, systematically with folders named for individual women, often bearing headshots he'd taken from their social media accounts. This isn't random. This was calculated. This was a predator who kept trophies between 2008 and 2023. He is suspected of drugging and SAing in that location more than 60 women and multiple children. And how do we know? Because the little arrogant monster photographed and video recorded his crimes. Thousands of images and videos depicting these crimes, sexual crimes, against over 67 victims. Many were drugged and unconscious. And then the story gets even more horrifying and enraging. Women filed SA complaints against Williams in 2019 and 2020, and the Johnson City Police Department had complaints. They had victims coming forward. After Michaela's fall, they had the list, the actual list that had the word right up there. They had evidence, and they still did nothing. In fact, it gets worse. In 2023, court documents emerged alleging that the police didn't just ignore him and his crimes. They allegedly were extorting money from him to cover them. Of course, they deny it. According to the documents, Williams' business partner, Alunda Rutherford, she was paying the police officers $2,000 in cash every week. Bank records obtained during discovery allegedly show Rutherford withdrew nearly $30,000 in cash from Williams' business account. The withdrawals were done in $10,000 increments to avoid mandatory suspicious activity reports. The documents claim that police corruptly conspired to obstruct the investigation and enabled Williams' alleged crimes. And Williams himself speaking from jail saying, yep, he made the stunning claim that he'd been paying off the Johnson City police officers for years through his ex-girlfriend. He also accused the police of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from his safe. Now Johnson City Police issued a statement denying everything. Yeah, but victims don't make allegations like this lightly. And when a city settles for $30 million, that tells you something. But before Kat Dahl was actually fired, she had secured a warrant for his arrest in April of 2021. Okay. But the police made every excuse after excuse not to even arrest him. They were too busy. They had a conflicting training schedule. He wasn't a priority. One officer said they couldn't execute the warrant because they lacked the code to the front door of his building. I mean, they lacked the code to the front door of his building.
They
Okay.
lack the code.
Yeah. Have they not ever heard you ring the other people in the apartment and eventually someone opens the door? Duh. Even I know that. Finally, in mid-May, one single cop was sent to knock on his door while he was hosting a party. He looked out through the peephole. He called 911 and was told about the warrant by an officer at the station. So guess what he did? He fled. He repelled out the window because remember he was known as Spider-Man. Williams remained a fugitive for nearly 2 years. 2 years where he could have hurt more people. And police couldn't be bothered to find him or didn't want to. Let's see here. Whoops.
I vote for didn't want to.
Yes, I vote for didn't want to too. That's exactly what I vote for. So, he was finally arrested on April 30th of 2023 near Western Carolina University in Cullowhee, North Carolina. I don't know. The campus police seized flash drives from him, from his car, having adult kind of photos, if you know what I mean, of his crimes, including images of him SAing 3 minor children while their mothers lay unconscious nearby. But getting caught, it didn't stop him, you guys. On October 18th of 2023, while being transported to a hearing in Greenville, Tennessee, the man was handcuffed and he somehow still escaped out of the transport van. He kicked out a window, jumped onto the road, he broke his wrists, but he escaped. He remained free for over a month before being recaptured in Pinellas County, Florida on November 21st of 2023. Now, again, this was at a 7-Eleven. There was a clerk named Tasha Bumgardner. And let's give a shout out to Tasha because she recognized him from the police photos when he came in to buy a hot dog. She said, I had goosebumps. When I turned and looked at him, she said, she told a coworker, I'm going to catch a criminal, and called the police. As Williams tried to hide under a tarp, a police dog named Voodoo sank its teeth into his leg. I sure hope Voodoo got a treat for that. I mean, he actually deserved a steak dinner for that one.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, let's all give Voodoo some food because that was awesome, Voodoo. You did your job better than the police in Johnson County, Tennessee. That's what he looked like when they got him. He was just a mess. In November of 2024, the scumbucket was convicted of 3 counts of production of adult photography. In July of 2024, he was convicted of escape. On February 24th of 2025, Judge J. Ronnie Greer sentenced him, the scumbucket, to 95 years in federal prison. He called Williams a psychopath and a dangerous predator. 95 years. He's 54 years old, so we know he'll die in prison unless they let him out. He escapes, and that's where he belongs. But here's the tragedy. This is only the federal charges related to the 3 children and his escape. Williams still has pending drug trafficking, the child adult picture trial in North Carolina. Those trials have been delayed multiple times, meaning even more delays for the alleged adult victims still in Tennessee. And they're waiting for their day in court. Over 60 women, based on the photos and videos found in his possession. Law enforcement believes that he has essayed like I said, close to 400 women. Some may not even know what happened to him, you guys, because they were drugged. Just like some of the women that were even friends of his that said, I had no idea when they saw the video or the picture. But these women are waiting for justice. But because of Michaela Evans and those 8 other courageous women who filed that lawsuit, things have started to change. Johnson County was forced to hire a law firm to investigate their police department's approach to sexual crimes. The report identified systematic deficiencies, really, of 105 recent reports of SA
Sure.
with an identified suspect. The police had interviewed the suspect in only 36 cases. You got that? 105 reports, and they've only actually interviewed 36 suspects. In 2023, some of these
High on the
cops,
priority list.
yeah, some of these cops actually got promotions. Yeah. Reggie Sparks, he was one of those that was in when they first got Kat Dahl on the case. He was there. He's been promoted to captain on Platoon 2. David Hilton, he was there when Kat Dahl was first brought on the case. He was promoted to a lieutenant in the Office of Professional Standards in 2023. Now the Chief Turner, he had been promoted back in 2018, but when I was looking at the Facebook post, someone wrote 3 weeks ago under that old post, and they put, "Common folk are viewing this guy as eroding the public's confidence, and he's creepy." So they even think that, the chief of police was a creep. Uh, yeah, I know. This is a case you do want to, cuss for. I understand. And this is the man that when Dahl act this Chief Turner was when Dahl warned him that Williams might be targeting children, Chief Carl Turner brushed her off. It took until 2025 before they replaced that man with a new chief. So all this was taking place, all these lawsuits, and they left this man as the chief until 2025. Something is just evil about that police department, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. You know, some of them are just allegedly really evil. And as part of this over $30 million settlement, Johnson City agreed to 4 years of monitoring by an independent overseer, including detailed audits of 15 of the SA crimes each year. An outside consultant found that the police failed to collect evidence, interview suspects and witnesses, and make arrests in numerous SA reports over 4 years. The change came because these victims, these women, refused to stay silent. Change came because Michaela Evans, Brianna, Kaye, Alexa, and so many others said enough. And also Kat Dahl reaching out to Ronan Farrow and not staying quiet because she knew that there was some serious corruption there and she wasn't going to let it just go away. But let's go ahead and look at our missing people for tonight. We don't have quite as many because I was running to the last minute, as I normally do. Whoops. That didn't get taken out. Doc, there you are. But remember, you guys, when you are looking at these pictures and you're out and about later, try and put that cell phone down and look at people, really see people, because sometimes people might leave voluntarily, but danger keeps them from coming home. Others never had a choice to leave because we know human trafficking is real. Missing persons cases happen everywhere. And a lot of times they're hiding in plain sight and the victims just go unnoticed. So if you see someone that's a missing person, contact the authorities. Don't let someone else do it. You do it. If something just doesn't feel right, contact the authorities. It's easier just to let them come and check it out. And if it's not, great. But if it is, you could have saved someone's life. We also have our email, which is if you're scared to call the police, it's tips, the number 4, trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com. We'll pass the information on. But our first person is Linda James. She's 62. She went missing on January 21st. She's from Lumi Nation in Washington. She was last seen near her home on Bulk Road in Lumi Nation. She's 5'1", weighs about 160 pounds, has brown eyes. The case number is 201-00487. If anybody has any information, please contact the Lumi Nation Police Department at 360-778-6663. I know her boyfriend was the last person that supposedly saw her. The FBI is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and convictions of anybody if they were involved in her disappearance. So it sounds to me like they're kind of suspicious. Yeah, sketchy. And I agree with you totally on that, therapist, Our next one, and this is another one that's very concerning. This is Isabella Comas. She's only 21. She went missing January 11th at 3 p.m. from let me get a drink because apparently I'm thirsty. Okay. Avondale, Arizona.
Avondale.
Oh, see? Thanks, Doc. She has brown hair or brown eyes, pink hair. She's 5'3" and weighs 110 pounds. She was last seen wearing a navy blue shirt, blue pants with a white stripe, and sandals. She was seen leaving her friend's residence near West Van Buren Street and 111th Avenue. Her car was found a few days later near 67th and Indian School in Phoenix. Her phone was also found there. Scary. It's very scary, but they also found blood in her car and also what appeared to be weapons that could be used on to hurt someone. Her boyfriend, Tommy Rodriguez, is named as a person of interest. He has been arrested, I think, on some other charges. So if anybody has information about Isabella, please contact the police department at 623-333-7000. Or there is a silent witness number at 480-WITNESS to remain anonymous. Now, our next one, let's hope that little girl's found, but that's scary. The next one is Sydney Pratt Clear Sky. She's 13 years old, you guys. She's been missing since January 14th from Rivers, Manitoba, Canada. Sydney was last seen at her residence in Rivers, Manitoba at 3 a.m. They said she could be wearing white pants and dark clothing when she left her home, and she's described as having brown eyes and red hair. She's about 5'6", 130 pounds. And if you have any information, contact Brandon RCMP at 204-726-7522. Crime Stoppers is 1-800-222-8477. Remember, if you see these girls in another area or women, you can always call 911 and let them know. I do have good news. Last Thursday, we had a 10-year-old boy. He got found. He's back home. He's safe. So that was good news. I was glad to hear he got found. Hey, Mustang. Good to see you, darling. So this case represents everything wrong with how our criminal justice system handles SA. Women came forward. They reported. They did everything we tell victims to do. Hey, Kayla. And the system failed them. Not just failed them, actively refused to protect them, while working class victims like these women who just have normal jobs are disbelieved. They're shamed. They're ignored in these cases. This is the group of some of the women at one of the press conferences after they won their lawsuit. And I mean, let's be honest, you guys, no judge hands over $30 million without there being a case. So that department, it was dirty. I'm just allegedly, a huge allegedly, because these women,
Yeah,
they wouldn't,
allegedly.
yeah. Well, we don't want to get sued. We ain't got $30 million. I think I
No.
might have three. I might have three. I don't even know if I got that. But the police contempt for survivors reflects a broader social problem that we have. Victims like Brianna, Kaye, they were dismissed as unreliable. Oh, you were too drunk. You were too traumatized. They're uncooperative, but they weren't. They wanted to testify. They wanted to push the case forward. So we have to remember that when women come forward, we take it seriously. And for any woman, because I know there are those few, let's just be honest, that might come out and make a false claim. And I'm sorry, if you're willing to make this as an SA false claim, you should do the time that the person you're claiming against. I'm sorry, I just truthfully believe that because we want to believe the victims. But if it is somebody that's making false claims, then they need to pay the price. Because we got to take that seriously because that muddies the water. And we don't want that to happen.
Professor McLeod thought that was a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, he liked that idea. Because these women were brave. And I mean, this creature, Scumbucket should have never been. They need to put him under the jail. I wish Voodoo would have just ate him. Couldn't they just let the dog have a snack? I mean, come on. Voodoo was hungry. Let's let Voodoo have him. But let's remember, you guys, every killer and predator depends on silence. Every predator counts on your apathy. All these people, these SAers, they bank on the system failing the victims. They bank on, not doing the kits. But don't give it to them. If you know something, speak up. Because silence is betrayal. Someone knows something. And that's what we have to count on, is that somebody does know something and they will get the word out. Help bring, yeah. Yeah, we have to bring justice to these overlooked cases because it's so important. And this is one that didn't get a huge amount of I've seen more on it just recently because he did get sentenced at the end of the year and they won the lawsuit. But before that, there wasn't a lot on this case. I've been following it for a while. And I haven't forgotten about what happened recently yesterday in Minnesota. We will be talking more on that another day. But right now, sadly, another person has lost their life. And we will discuss it. But I thought we needed to look at some other cases because these women, they stood together, they stood up, even when it was difficult, even when it was hard. I mean, that Michaela fell out a fifth-story window. Think about that. That poor girl, she's a wonder to survive. Laura didn't. She didn't survive. And I don't know if she'll ever get justice because they just decided not to pay attention to the case. If anybody has a case they want us to look into, if it's a cold case, an overlooked case, maybe it's a Jane Doe, John Doe, we're glad to look into it for you. It doesn't have to be a case it can just be one that's been on your mind. Because sometimes we all have those cases that we just can't quite forget. I think Thursday we're going to have, I think Chong's supposed to come back. I hope it works out. I'm going to get in touch with her tomorrow because she works. Today was her last day of work. And so tomorrow's the start of her weekend, like it's my weekend. So we'll have a good conversation if she's still available. If not, we'll come up with something for you guys because we want to make sure that the injustice gets shouted out. because every victim deserves to have their name said, deserves to have justice. I recently talked with Kayla. I recently talked with Lissa. Had some great conversations with them. Lissa's put me on to a couple of other cases that we're looking into, and hopefully very soon we're going to have some other guests to come tell some stories that are near and dear to my heart, and I know you guys will appreciate them also. So just remember that we love you for taking the time just to kind of hang out with us, even when we have our sound issues. Because, I don't know what we did, but we did something. I think it was Moo. I really do. I think Moo did something. She really didn't act like she wanted to come to work tonight. Did she, Doc? I think it was Moo. When he opened the door to the
No,
studio,
not really.
she didn't want to come in. So
Usually usually when you open the door. Yeah.
she's the first one in and she's ready to work. Not tonight. So I think she did something. You just can't trust that little Moo cat. She's a little stinker. But thank you for taking the time to be with us. And until next time, you guys stay informed, stay compassionate, keep speaking truth, keep demanding justice, and never stop speaking up. If you see something, yes, I am maligning your niece, Irish, because she can be a naughty little girl. Say goodnight, Doc. Love you, Kayla. I guess
Good
Doc
night,
can't hear.
Doc.
We love you all. Remember, the criminals never stop, so neither do we. We're going to keep going. You got it. Good night from Kat there, Moo. And until next time, keep fighting for justice. Thursday, I'm hoping we've got us a guest lined up. If not, we'll be here with something. But you guys have a good night and ciao.
Greetings, truth seekers and justice warriors. Let's ride, seize your storyteller with that fire in her eyes. A ride or die, Doc's riding shotgun by her side. Moon rolls with us through the dark of night, and we're ready for the fight in the wilderness where predators hunt, where the system fails and cases grow cold. We're shining our light on the other side, on the stories that need to be told. Welcome to justice after dark, where cold cases never rest. Every name deserves to be heard, from the missing to the murdered, because even in darkness, justice needs a voice. Join the story, make some noise. Justice belongs to everyone. We bring it to light. Through cold case files where time stands still, indigenous voices echo from the void. The forgotten names, we still remember them. We won't ignore any missing souls. Building bridges, breaking walls, answering justice's call. One community, one voice. In the darkness we rejoice, sharing stories left behind, every truth we can find. Welcome to justice after dark, where cold cases never sleep. Every name deserves to be heard, for the missing and the murdered, because even in darkness, justice deserves a voice. Join the story, make some noise. Justice belongs to everyone. We bring it to light. So buckle up, trial junkies, truth seekers and justice warriors. The road ahead gets bumpy as we guide you through another set of stories that need justice. Welcome to Justice After Dark. The adventure starts now. One community, one voice.